Shadows of the Empire. With a news trailer for Star Wars Fallen Order sequel, Star Wars Survivor, decided to look back into some of the older Star Wars games and take a deep dive into the lore, gameplay, and even behind the scenes projects. That being said, there had been a rumor in February 22 started by Giant Freaking Robot that said that there's a live action project in the works related to Shadows of the Empire. With Disney wiping the slate clean with the previous Star Wars books and stories, I'm interested to see how much they will follow suit with their books, comics, and even games, and how it compared to their hit shows like Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and Endor. Later on, a book was released in support of expanding on the story with a couple of comic books, titled Shadows of the Empire Evolution. There were talks of a sequel to the book, and even an adaptation for TV, but ultimately was cancelled due to licensing. Here's a little information in regards to the game Shadows of the Empire. The game was created by Lucasfilm in '96 with the idea of the story being set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. It was released with the intent of bringing some hype towards the release of the new Star Wars trilogy releasing in '99, obviously being The Phantom Menace. The game revolves around a rebel named Dash Rendar who's assisting in freeing Han Solo and helping Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker against the Empire. The game has some unique qualities and even battles against big name characters such as IG-88 and Boba Fett. Of course, I'm doing a big playthrough on Steam, but because my N64 I have is stood away in a box somewhere, and the game, and to be honest, the PC version was actually fully immersed with cutscenes and voice acting to include sound effects, whereas the N64 version is strictly subtitled. I figured you guys would enjoy watching the actual cutscenes. The game takes about 5 hours to beat, or about 12.5 hours if your goal is to 100% it. I've been a huge fan of the Star Wars universe, and I'd recommend giving this old gem a little playthrough for fun. I actually paid $5 for it on Steam, and considering how small the file is, I downloaded it instantly. And it even had mostly positive reviews. The game has its old style quirks, and the game itself was actually pretty challenging. Like most old games, the controls feel a little wonky, but not a big deal. One of the wonky controls I had to deal with was strafing when I jumped in the air, which led to many deaths, or being able to actually aim instead of just shooting straight off into the distance while being shot at. And even add on to the fact that I was playing on easy, the enemies were challenging. I even had to develop an actual strat against IG-88 due to the amount of damage he did versus my damage output. I also probably spent about 40 minutes just trying to beat the first level, which had 4 stages that got even more and more difficult every time you went up to the next stage, but I still had fun with it. Along with this little information gameplay you've seen, I will release an edited version with only cutscenes available for those of you who'd rather watch than play the game, enjoy the story, and catch up to what may or may not happen in the show that could be released. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to support the channel by liking, subscribing, sharing with a friend, and I might even do more content like this. I really did enjoy kind of deep diving into the story of Shadows of the Empire, and I'd really like to do the same thing for like Knights of the Republic, Knights of the Republic 2, and other games like Rogue Squadron, and maybe even post about the new update that just hit Star Wars The Old Republic. I think the game has definitely come a long way from release, and I'd love to see more players get back into it. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one.